Alright guys, yeah, good morning. So in my opinion this should dump again. I don't really see it creating a V-shaped pattern, or it may consolidate in here on a new day, get a push up. What time is it? 4:45 a.m. And then you know, I do expect that to dump again. Where is it going to dump? I mean, the fractal I done from last time, we can see it here. It is pushing. You can see we're down here, but we are pushing up a bit. The 50% retrace is here. Sometimes you don't get that. See this 50% retrace here? It did just pierce into it. It kind of got higher than expected, then it dumped right back down. Very similar pattern, very similar top here and here. If you zoom in, I remember this actually because I was shorting on the drop, and I think when this broke here on the neckline, that's a pivotal point when you know, when the neckline breaks in these patterns. So honestly, I didn't expect it. I was sleeping. I seen this volume. See this volume right here? I thought that price would come up at some point. Like, I thought we'd dip off it, come back up to spike above this high, and then that was a short back down. I definitely didn't expect this dump. But also now when I'm seeing it, of course in hindsight it's a lot easier, but you know, I remember this pattern over and over and over again. It's a very weak pattern. I can't find this tool. I'm still waking up here, still a bit sleepy, but like you can see here, it's a cup and handle, or I really am sleepy. It's an Adam and Eve pattern, right? It's a bearish Adam and Eve pattern, a bullish Adam and Eve pattern when you invert your chart, as you can see here, and you break this neckline. And of course the target of an Adam and Eve pattern is only well, you can take the depth of here actually, to be honest, but I'm taking the depth of the larger part of it, and you can see right, it would have been right down here, but the pattern flushed, and very much like 2018, that pattern that I talked about. Obviously somebody's talking about the government selling, and Mt. Gox are selling as well. So you know, that's a little bit frustrating. I did short, honestly, I'm not even joking, but I think I shorted the very top tick right in here, because I was like, God, we're getting close to this volume pierce here, and I'm going to short this. And I shorted, and we dropped down in here, and it was like 20 minutes later into here, and I closed. And I didn't want to alert. I wanted to alert. I did post in the group I thought this was going higher, and I did think it was going higher. So I thought we were going to dip and come back up into this and then go, because obviously we have talked about that we are potentially forming this bearish monthly doji at this point. Well, we were creating this doji, and it's a doji coming off a neckline, right? And I posted about Ethereum. Maybe I can show Ethereum here. Where's these charts? I'm just waking up here, so I'm not really organized for all this. But you can see here. Let's move that out of the way. I don't know what I was at there. So, well, we can see here. Ethereum did close green on the month. Bitcoin is red on the month at the moment, but there's 4 days left, right? So this is a warning. This is a neckline breakdown, retest. This was a neckline breakdown and retest on Ethereum, as you can see here. Let's just take that out. Now there is lower time frames. It looks pretty much the same on as well, but this is pretty important. Like, a neckline retest is powerful. So it makes me weary. It definitely does. Of course I would have liked to see more strength in the altcoins, but you know, it is what it is. We need to just be prepared, because this you know, we got to read the charts regardless what our emotions think of what we want. As I talked about in the last few days, we were coming into this neckline, and I expected a green 2-week candle, sorry. And you can see now we still have a green 2-week candle, right? We still have that green 2-week candle here. We're still green here, but what happened on the next 2 weeks was we dumped hard. Okay, so as long as this stays green here, right, we've nothing to majorly worry about at this point, at least on this 2-week candle, as long as this 2-week candle is staying green. this is a grab for liquidity above. Everybody's asking about news. I mean, this is not news. If you understand how to read charts and stuff, it's not news. This is a grab for liquidity on a 2-week doji into a neckline. You know, I see on Twitter and everybody asking about news, and it's like, it's a 23% fib. I mean, would it be nice to get the 38% fib? Of course, but in strong bear markets, you don't usually get through the 23%. Like, that's your first major resistance point. So I think at this point, you know, can we recover? I mean, we have to see, but this is major. Like, this is a major retest of a neckline. It's a rejection, and then we're retesting this rejection. That looks like a 68% route, or maybe it's more than that. Yeah, well, I'll take it to the lows, because we did dip to them lows. What you can see is past 61. Is that 68? Yeah, well, I mean, it's in that ballpark. So, like, it's an ideal short location and position to be dumping, especially the whales. And do you think it's a coincidence that the whales, the government, the Mt. Gox are selling and dumping on this? I mean, that's totally planned. Like, I mean, they know what they're doing, is what I'm saying. They're seeing a retrace into this and getting out at the top. The public obviously were thinking that we're going to new all-time highs. You see the euphoria on Twitter. You know, we did post on the group that we're weary on this, and we think this is going to reject and roll down potentially. But you know, people calling for news, but I suppose the news is the Mt. Gox. Like, you know, to be fair, but this is the setup. Like, it is in the charts. I mean, they usually do correlate some sort of news with the charts anyway. But you know, if what's the old saying? You know, show me the charts and we'll tell you the news. Now, I said earlier today, I was kind of not concerned, but I was kind of curious, the fact that we had already flipped up and flipped green, and kind of was engulfing similar to this, but we had 11 days left. I said about that in the chart today. I says, is this going to go higher? Do we consolidate or chop about for the next 2 weeks? Or sorry, the next 11 days? Because there's a long time left in this 2-week candle, which I found very interesting. So I think the dump today makes it even more interesting. Now, there's another thing obviously we've got to be concerned about. Concerned about maybe the right word, but you have a base here. You want to break down to that base. If we break down to that base, that's dangerous, and that's exactly what happened here. And it started a whole flush and a whole run. Like, what happened when you broke down of Ethereum base up here? Right, it started a whole run and a flush. What happened up here in the 2019 bull market? You broke down from here, and it started a whole run and a flush. What happened on Bitcoin? Well, I need to zoom out from the 2-week charts. But you know, what happened when you break down from these necklines? These necklines in here, you could call that a neckline, you know, here, or I suppose we have the bigger neckline and then we flushed here. So we have a mini neckline here. You know, you kind of see it better on the 2-week chart, to be fair. So you know, we start breaking down from this, and that's dangerous. That's that's not good. Like here, look at this neckline here. If we can move this here, well, what happened? Well, it flushed, but it did come back and retest, and then we rolled away again. Now, what happened to Ethereum? We flushed away from the neckline, we came back and retested the neckline. So what happened here? We flushed the neckline, came back and retested the neckline. What is happening here? We flushed the neckline, come back and retested the neckline, and continued down. Oh, well, I mean, I'm just saying, if we break here, we can continue down, like many of these other necklines did. Like this neckline did. This neckline continued down. Wherever the other one was over here, you know, we flushed that neckline. We came up, retested here. I suppose retested here as well, and then we flushed lower. We eventually did break back up. But what I'm trying to get at is these necklines are very, very, very powerful and very important. And we have a small neckline here. Now, my computer has not been set up for trading. It's been really, all my windows and screens have been set up for building that indicator and working on that indicator. We still did have more work. We had problems with programmer, not doing what we asked and different things, not doing what we wanted, and doing doing the wrong things. So it's been a little bit frustrating the last few days with it. I'd be glad to see the end of it. Speaking of that, I didn't even put on my moving averages there. Actually, must be still half sleeping. So speaking of the indicator, well, we can see recently. I suppose there was a good buy here. We remember the buy here. We called that. We watched that. I called that myself to the exact cent. I looked for a pierce below that volume here, and the buy was just below here. And I nailed the exact bottom actually in the BTC channel. But you can see again, then we got another one right here, another oversold, and the way it went. Now this oversold here was very interesting. It created a bullish base. When you get these oversolds and you start creating a bullish base like this, you need to get out of the shorts. You need to get out of if you have shorted. Because this is a breakout of a long base, right? There's a breakout of a long base, and it's a bullish consolidation. So sometimes it can roll over like this rolled over. But this is a clear bullish pattern. This was coming into major levels. This was a very good signal actually, even though you didn't get any trade off it, you didn't get any short, but it's a great signal because it tells you right now that the chop is about to start. It tells you that a base is about to build. It tells you that maybe it's time to go fishing in the market, or maybe it's time to look at altcoins, because when Bitcoin's consolidating, some altcoins can start to move. So there's a lot to be said about this signal here, even though it doesn't give a trade on BTC. When Bitcoin is bullish chopping, altcoins can run. So you can use these signals very well. They're very powerful. Now, this was not a good signal because it didn't really do much, and then we got that move actually. So this was the only poor signal on the entire run up. This was obviously flawless. It nailed the exact top. Now let's have a look here. So it nailed, it had a couple, 2, 3, nailed the very top there, and it nailed there. Of course, then when things started to break down in the parabolic breakdown, that's where we are looking to try and improve. And it's really not easy to improve this situation, but like these early ones, because there's something wrong here on the charts. When these do flash, it's sometimes they work out perfect, and sometimes they, when the market is completely breaking down, all indicators get completely all messed up. You could look at almost any indicator, an oscillator, and all the metrics and the numbers get skewed. So it's very hard to remove this out of it, and we have been trying with some ideas. But of course then we did get some good signals down here, and we got the bounce. Now on the 4-hour chart here anyway, we kind of have to give a credit where credit's due. This is a very nice recovery. Obviously this was the oversold. We stop hunted the oversold right down here, and away we went. But this 4-hour candle, it is pretty powerful. Very nice reaction bounce. 12 hours still red. Daily, obviously, this doji. If you look at this is the 4-day. It does not look like this is going to break down yet, right? You can see the base there clearly. It kind of actually looks like, if you look at this, it kind of looks like the COVID crash down here. We have that neckline, and it also kind of looks like here. These sort of necklines or whatever. Both of these were bearish. Oh no, sorry, this was not a bearish stop on a monthly. But you can kind of see those necklines right there. I know we've talked a lot about necklines in this video, but I might as well add a few more in here, wherever. Could add the bullish one as well. I mean, you've a clear one right here. More necklines here, right? But they are important. I mean, you could draw it there if you want to get a retest. And if we're really going forward for necklines, I suppose, well, we had that neckline of a breakout there, or I suppose you could draw it right down that way actually. But there's that neckline. But let me just alter that. If you draw this neckline over here, draw this trend line over here, you can see it's a perfect retest of all of these. It's a perfect retest of this neckline, perfect retest of this neckline, and a test right off the COVID crash, perfect test of this this crazy jump. I remember that day. and then it perfectly touches down here. I know this video is getting very long in the tooth, but if you look right there, now what's funny about this is if you, now I'm not sure if it's the exact same trend line, but I've got a video on YouTube from back here, and I called it the trend line of death. If you Google that in the group, you might even find that trend line of death. Now I'm not sure if this is the exact trend line, but it was something like this. And when we were in here chopping about and through here, I talked about this trend line a lot, or at least one of them. Maybe it was actually pointing downwards. Maybe it was pointing down that way. Actually, I'm not too sure. There was a couple of trend lines then, but you can see how important this was. It's ran the whole way through. Now, if you want to see this also, look where this hit. Coincidence? I'm not sure, but it ran right through perfectly to touch the start of this chart, and now it has kind of ran right through. It's still existing to this day. Now, when we're talking about trend lines, this trend line also very important going into the future, going forward. You can see that this has perfectly hit this top and perfectly hit the recent top, or the one from right here. It basically called the top down to a T. So yeah, so it's not going to be easy to break through this yet. There is another, now when we're here, the video was long enough, I know that, but you remember this trend line right along here? Very important as well. Ran right through here, right through the bottom, and right into COVID. So got a bit distracted there with necklines, trend lines, but they are very important. So to finish up this video, not sure where I was going with these trend lines and all, but this will be very important going forward. If we do dump, that's a major point to be considering buying Bitcoin, and obviously if we completely crash, this is the place to be buying Bitcoin. But right up here, I don't really like Bitcoin at the moment. It's into a dangerous territory, so we need to be careful.